Good morning, students. Dear students, today we will be learning a new unit number 8, Fire, Friend and Foe. Okay, fire is sometimes it is good because it can be our friend, but sometimes it cannot be our friend. It is very dangerous in our life. Fire is both useful and dangerous. What is fire? So let us learn today in this lesson what is fire. You can see here in this picture how the firefighters are distinguishing the fire. Okay? So let us go through the lesson. Early man did not know what fire was. So early man was not knowing what fire was. But he must have seen the damage it could cause. So what are the causes of damage they could see? He must have watched lightning and volcanoes long before he began to use fire himself. So early man must have seen the fire. Okay, but when before he used the fire, he must have seen the volcanoes and lightning during the monsoon season. Fire was powerful and dangerous, and he was frightened. So early man was frightened about a fire. Okay, early man was very much frightened about a fire. Fire may have puzzled early man, but we now know that fire is the result of a chemical reaction. At present, now we all know that the fire is the reaction of a chemical reaction. When the oxygen in the air combines with the carbon and hydrogen in a fuel, a chemical reaction takes place. Energy in the form of heat and light is released in his process. This is what we call a fire. So what is called fire? That is written in this paragraph here. You can read it once again. Three things are needed to make fire. What are the three things? Fuel, oxygen and heat is needed to make fire. Wood, coal, cooking gas and petrol are some examples of fuel. Oxygen comes from the air. That is why when we blow on smoldering paper, it often bursts into flame. The third thing needed to make fire is heat. Fuel and oxygen do not make fire by themselves, or else a newspaper or a stick lying in the open would catch fire on its own. So unless and until we don't burn it, okay, we don't light a matchbox, fire is not taking a place. So we should keep it in our minds, unless and until a stick is lying on the ground or a dry grass is lying on the ground, unless and until we don't repair it or we don't fire it, it won't burn it by itself. To burn a piece of paper or wood, we heat it before it catches the fire. So, we heat the before it catches the fire. We generally do it with a lighted match. So, with the lighted matchbox, we can light the fire. Okay, with the lighted matchbox, we can light the fire. Every fuel has a particular temperature at which it begins to burn. So every fuel is having its particular temperature. My dear students, you must have learned in your science classes that what are the uses of fire, how the fire is getting burned, how the burning, what are the burning fuels are there. Every fuel has a particular temperature at which it begins to burn. This temperature is called the flash point or kindling temperature of the fuel. It is sometimes said that fire is a good servant but a bad master. It is said that fire is a good servant but it is a bad master. It only means that fire is very useful as long as it is kept under control. When it is useful as long as when we keep it under control. For instance, we use it to cook our food, warm our homes in winter and go generate electricity. But on the other hand, if fire gets out of control, it can be very dangerous. If the fire is out of control, it can be very dangerous for our life. Each year, thousands of homes and shops are damaged by fire. Vast areas of forest are also destroyed and hundreds of people are killed or injured. So hundreds of people are killed and injured by the fire. Many of the areas where there is no safety fire, people can find difficulties. They find difficulties especially when the fire bursts into their house and into their shops. Just as three things are needed to start a fire. So we need three things just to start a fire. There are three main ways in which a fire can be put out. In each one of the three things needed for burning, it is taken away. Okay, burning, it is taken away. Now, for example, so let us go through the three things. Which are the three things? For example, we can take away the fuel if the fire has no fuel to feed on. No burning can take place. So we have to take out the fuel. If the fuel is taken out, no fire is taking place. We often let a fire die out simply by not adding more fuel to it. The second way of putting out a fire is to prevent oxygen from reaching it. No supply of oxygen means no fire. If there is no supply of oxygen, that means there is no fire. Small fires can be put out or smothered with a damp blanket or a sack. This stops oxygen reaching a burning material. So one way is putting out a small fire. So putting a damp blanket or putting a burning sack on it. Okay, so it stops the oxygen reaching the burning material. Sometimes carbon dioxide is used to extinguish fire. It does not allow oxygen to reach the burning material. The third way of putting out fire is to remove the heat. So third way of putting out fire, that means we supposed to remove the heat. If the temperature can be brought down below the flash point, the fuel stops burning. You blow on a burning matchsticks or a candle to put it out. In doing so, you remove the hot air around the flame, burning down its temperature below the flash point, and the candle goes out. Sometimes water is sprayed on a fire. It absorbs heat from a burning fuel and lowers the temperature. The blanket of water also cuts off the supply of oxygen and the fire is extinguished. How the fire is extinguished in the third way? So the fire is extinguished on the third way by putting a wet blanket on a burning thing or a burning person and spraying a water. Now each and every place the government has placed a fire safety. Okay. Some fires cannot be put out with water. If water is sprayed on oil fire, the oil will float to the top of the water and continue to burn. This can be very dangerous because water can flow quickly, carrying the burning oil with it and spreading the fire. Water should also not be useful on fires caused by electric appliance. So water is not good when through the electric appliance the fire has caused. Sometimes the electric appliance, when the fire is caused, the people may get a shock if we spray the water. This can be very dangerous because water can flow quickly carrying the burning oil with it and spreading the fire. Water should be also not put on a fire caused by electric appliance. The person spraying water might receive an electric shock and be killed. A carbon dioxide extinguisher is the best thing to fight and electrical fire. Okay, carbon dioxide. Now let us go through another part of it. We spend millions of rupees each year in fighting fires, and we spend more trying to find new ways of preventing fires from happening and getting out of control. On the whole, we have learned rather well to control fire and put it to good use in our everyday life. So, as soon as we can possible, we should try that fire should not be caused. Okay? Long ago, there were no firemen. When fire broke out, everybody became a firefighter. Yeah, you can see in this picture, dear students, you can see in these pictures that people are making a chain and they are trying to extinguish the fire. A home has caught. Fighter. People formed human chains. They still do it if required. Still the people are forming a queue if it is required. And passed buckets of water from a well or a pond to the blaze. Now there are laws about building constructions which ensures that space is left between buildings to reduce the fire risk. Every new building, especially a public place, must ensure observation of fire prevention norms. So, dear students, in our school also, you can see near the staircase there is a fire prevention. Okay, almost all the hospitals, new buildings, new shops and malls and buildings, people are taking a fire prevention. It is must from government according to the government rule. Bands of firefighting workers with special equipment known as fire brigades are there to put out fires. Firefighters are highly trained people. They possess many skills. So, they possess many skills. Even they rescue the people, those who are caught by the flood also. They cut off electricity supply, knock down dangerous walls, spray water and other materials to bring fire under control. They are also trained in first aid so that they can help people suffering from burns or from the effects of smoke. So, firefighter is a very good person. Firefighter is a very good person. He has a lot of things, what a lot of power and knowledge. Also, he can give a first aid to the burning people. The discovery of the fire and its uses helps early man to cope with nature better and gradually adopt a settled mode of life. Fire is still worshipped in many parts of the world. Fire is indeed a friend, but as we know, it can be a dangerous enemy once it gets out of control. So, dear students, here I complete my explanation of this lesson. This lesson should be read by you twice and understand it. Have a good day and thank you to all.